on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new edition of the MEAC More with your boy Chris Stevens. Hopefully, you all are doing well out there. We got a really packed show for you guys today. It is MEAC weekend. Actually, we're finally getting to the nuts and bolts of Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference football after almost 2 months, because the season started officially for North Carolina Central on the 23rd of August. Everybody else started the weekend of the 28th and the 30th. But now we're finally getting into MEAC play. But before we get into that, we got some house cleaning items to take care of. That includes shouting out our sponsor. This edition of the MEAC More is sponsored by Rock Solid Contracting and Development from Wilmington, Delaware. They handle all of your construction, demolition, and remediation needs. Rock Solid Contracting is based out of Wilmington, Delaware. You can go to rocksolidworks.net for all the information. And we'd like to thank Norman Oliver and Rock Solid Contracting for sponsoring this podcast. And of course, we have our weekly, it's going to be really light because we only had one game last week we're talking about. So for the MEAC More money players, it's going to be a Tennessee State affair because Tennessee State rolled over Howard 24-7 last week. And as usual, it's more money for their teammates, more problems for the opponents. Today, Tennessee State quarterback Byron McNair takes the offensive award. He completed 18 of 22 for 174 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also carried the ball 7 times for 47 yards, led Tennessee State in rushing. As the Tigers, they play in the Titans Stadium. They play in Titan Stadium, in Nissan Stadium. They defeated Howard for homecoming 24-7. This was, believe it or not, Tennessee State's 7th straight homecoming win. That's a lot. That's a lot of W's in a row. So shouts out to the Tennessee State football team for winning their homecoming game for another weekend. And it also snapped a 5-game loser streak as well. So congratulations to the Tigers. The other MEAC More money player comes from Tennessee State, and that is junior linebacker Micah Gay. He had 11 total tackles, 2 picks, and was named the Big South OVC Co-Defensive Player of the Week. Second time he has earned that award in a row. So Micah Gay might be coming up for Big South OVC Defensive Player of the Year award. That's pretty big. And he's got another year. So good on him. Yes, can we get some super chats? We are trying to, keep this operation going. We're doing a lot better, but we can still use your help. So if you guys want to drop a super chat, it can be $1, $2, $15,000. I know some of y'all balling like that. Feel free to drop a super chat. You're more than welcome to do so. And don't forget, you can donate as well. We have several avenues you can donate. We have Cash App. You can just type in the $sign in your Cash App application, type in HBCU Sports, go to the Zelle app, type in donate at hbcusports.com and give that way. Or you can go directly to the website and type in hbcusports.com/donate, drop your coins there. And we still accept super chat. So if you want to drop a super chat here, like I said, $1, $2, $15,000, $25,000, whatever you want to give. It all helps. It all helps. So today I actually had a all football show planned for you guys, but I was able to squeeze in a basketball interview this morning, and I'm going to play that interview for you now. I am proud to present my interview with Hampton men's basketball coach Ivan Thomas. Check it out. Gentlemen, we got a MEAC More exclusive today here on the HBCU Sports YouTube channel. I am pleased to be joined by Hampton men's basketball coach Ivan Thomas. Coach Thomas, thank you for taking time out to talk to us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, so for this year, the Pirates have been picked to finish 5th in the Coastal Athletic Association in a 13-team league. That's, up on the higher end of the spectrum. Just what do you make of that, if anything at all, about that preseason ranking, and what have you told your guys about those sort of things as you get ready for the season?
Well, I just think it's a testament of culture. Our culture matters. We just continue to build our culture, and culture built on toughness, a culture built on accountability, energy, effort, enthusiasm, and toughness. We was fortunate to have a few guys to come back, but that we place no stock in what other people think of us in terms of finishing 5th. You got to play the game. We really take no rest and no stock in anybody's opinion, and so you guys got to do your job and what you think a team is coming at, but that has nothing to do with the man in the arena. The man in the arena will determine how you finish this year, and that's on the court. Preseason rankings and preseason's first team and second team, that's just stuff to get media and the fans going. So we really don't put much stock into it. I don't think I've ever finished where they said I was going to finish. I don't know where they picked us at last year. I don't think we finished there. So, but we you know, think that uh, because teams have picked us fifth is a direct correlation to the culture that we're building that they experienced last year. And I just like to say, you establish your culture, and now we're trying to maintain our culture. And then at the end of the year, we'll hopefully defend our culture.
This is a league that has always one of the mid majors that everyone watches every year. Just what if you have any observations about the league so far? I mean, last year, is a totally different year. You're focused on 25, 26, but just what are your overall impressions of the Coastal as you get ready for this year? And what do you think it'll take for your team to be successful in that league this year?
Well, the league is very physical league, and it's had some very good coaches, very good coaching minds in the league, and we have great leadership in the CAA. Top to bottom is a really well run league. Me having experience in the Big East, it eerily reminds me of the similar leadership in the Big East, style of play, physicality, and so I enjoy being in the league. Some really really good coaches. And I think this is a league where you gotta bring your hard head every night. There's no easy night off. I think top to bottom, 1 through 13, we're all capable of competing at a high level because of the coaches in this league, because of the way the league is set up, and we just got some very good minds, basketball minds in the league, and so I'm thoroughly impressed with the league and looking forward to competing.
And you mentioned the all conference teams earlier. You have Daniel Johnson, who's a sophomore, and Xavier Long, who's a senior, who were among the honorees. What are you expecting from those young men as you head into this season?
I'm expecting leadership. I'm expecting them to be one of the people we talked about in terms of establishing the culture, and I expect them to maintain the culture, and I expect X to defend the culture. Both of them, they're two captains, so that's what I expect from them to continue to grow and develop, and defend and play our style of basketball every night, and be two of the leaders who show the other guys how we play and how we defend and how we, carry ourselves on a daily and nightly basis on the court. So that's what I fully expect from them.
And are there any other players that you like to mention or guys that have caught your eye as as preseason practice has gotten underway?
I think all of the guys have been working extremely hard. I think Unique Rink is much improved. 6'11", 6'10", big fella. I think Etienne Struthers is much improved as well. I expect him to come in and be a major contributor for us. And then, I expect all our guys to be a part of this success in any way that they can. Whether it's diving on the floor for a loose ball, clapping for your teammates. We're just building a culture where whoever's out there, we're expecting and demanding them to play at a high level and do the best they can with who they are every second that they're on the floor, and not make excuses why we can't do something based on where we are or what other people think about us.
And what is your strategy for this team this year? Like, what type of team are you trying to put on the floor for the 25-26 year?
My strategy has been my strategy for 25 years of coaching since I was a high school coach. I'm trying to put the toughest team out there on the floor, a team that's going to play with energy, effort, enthusiasm, and toughness. We're going to be a physical team every night we play, and so that's us. And then we want to capitalize on taking advantage of our physicality over other teams, and so that's what you're going to get. I don't all 25 years of me coaching from high school to my pedigree with Ed Cooley at Providence. We were a tough-minded team, tough mentally and physically on the court that can sustain and withstand any type of style of play.
And I had Trent Boykin, the football coach, on earlier this year. I asked him a question. I want to ask you a similar question. It might be different because of football and basketball are obviously two different sports. But coaching at an HBCU, but not in an HBCU conference, do you find that difficult in the recruiting aspect of the game? Because, that might throw some kids off. Obviously, you guys are in a highly competitive league, but does that affect your recruiting at all with respect to, how the school is branded, how the school is named, or do you think that helps you in some respects?
I don't think it. I don't think it hurts me. I think it's a way to celebrate who we are, and you're coming here to play basketball and be a part of the culture. It's just like when I was at uh, Georgetown or any other school. I didn't have to explain to my recruits that you're coming to play at a PWI. They understood that. So I think any kid that we recruit kind of understands the culture of our school, and understands that it's a way to celebrate and being a part of an HBCU. But they're coming here to play in the CAA, and that's what we talk about. We love the league that we're in. We love the competitiveness of it in. We love the opportunity for them to be educated within our culture while competing in a broader, uh, excellent conference like the CAA. And so we celebrate that. It really doesn't come up as an issue for us as much because my coaching staff does an amazing job talking about what we're bringing to the table as a coaching staff in the CAA, and the elevation of our program, continued growth. And we just want to continue to grow our culture. So we want young men that want to be a part of this culture, and then also be able to experience the culture of an HBCU. But they're coming here to play in the CAA at an HBCU.
And you guys obviously have a scrimmage with Old Dominion this weekend. Just how important is it for everybody in this Seven Cities area, yourselves, Norfolk State, William and Mary, ODU, to sort of have, even though you're competing against each other, still kind of sort of have a working relationship so you can keep more kids in that area home, if you will?
Absolutely. I think two of the programs, Norfolk State has done a tremendous job. The coach there has been there. He's probably the longest tenured coach in the area. He's done a tremendous job building Norfolk State program into a MEAC perennial year after year. Tremendous job doing that with his culture. Mike Jones has done a tremendous job at Old Dominion this year, in just terms of building that program back. And so I think it's important that we all compete against each other, we support each other in a sense of playing each other in games, and celebrating the success of the 757, and helping to retain some of our local kids who have the opportunity to play at this level and want to stay home and play for a Norfolk State, or play for an Old Dominion, or play for a Hampton University. And so I think it's a good feat. We have an opportunity to play um, um, all of the local schools this year, with us playing Norfolk State this year in the Battle of the Bay, and then we'll play Old Dominion in an exhibition, and then we'll go up the street and play one of our CAA rivals in William and Mary. So we get a chance to experience, the entirety of the 757, and then also just the Virginia landscape, as we will go up the road and play a powerhouse UVA as well. So I think it's important that we all battle each other within this area,
And I'll get you out of here on this note. What do you want to be able to say about this Hampton team at the conclusion of the season?
that we belong, period. That's what you would say. That's what they're going to say. They're not going to look at us as any other type of school that other than we belong in any conference that we're in. And so that's what I'm hoping that will happen, in terms of the display that we put out on the floor, the energy, the effort, the enthusiasm, and toughness every night, a night in and night out in this league, regardless of who we play. We belong.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Hampton men's basketball coach Ivan Thomas. Coach Thomas, we thank you for your time. This isn't going to be the last time we speak, but we want to wish you the best of luck this year.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time. Thank you, guys.
I roast Kendrick Marshall all the time for being on mute. And guess who was just on mute? Me. But yes, that was my interview with Hampton men's basketball coach Ivan Thomas. And want to thank Coach Thomas for taking the time out. Hampton plays Old Dominion in a scrimmage exhibition this weekend. Their season starts November 3rd after that. So very much looking forward to seeing what the Pirates look like. They're picked to be a top 5 team in the Coastal Athletic Association. We'll have more HBCU basketball interviews as I'm working on them right now. I'm trying to get everybody possible under the sun to get on this podcast before the season really gets, underway. So I want to thank Coach Thomas for taking time out of his busy schedule. And it's Hampton's homecoming week, so I know he's busy talking to recruits and stuff. So I thank him for taking the time out. So Amanda, what do you mean by this? Let me know. Was there something in that in the conversation that piqued your interest? Let me know. But yes. All right. So now we are going to talk about football, which is why you are here. Shouts out to Champ D checking in. Monty Ross. I've seen him. He was coach at University of Delaware when I was a pup, and I thought he did a good job at UD. So I really think he'll have that team turned around in short order. And of course, and he's a Winston-Salem State alum. So I don't think A&T will be in the basement for long. That being said, we're here for football chatter. So let's chat about football. We finally get the nuts and bolts of the MEAC season underway. This handy dandy little no, that's not it. This is, yes, this little graphic that I made myself. Graphic design is my passion. So the chase begins this Saturday. You've got 3 games between the 6 teams, and all matchups are interesting. So let's get to the matchup. The one I think is the most important, bias notwithstanding, is North Carolina Central hosting Delaware State for homecoming. Now, this is going to tell us a lot about the Deshaun Jackson era at Delaware State, because this is a team, North Carolina Central, who has looked like the real McCoy. Last 4 games, they've averaged nearly 52 points a game. They've won each of those 4 games by at least a touchdown or more, probably 3 or 4 touchdowns or more. And this is a North Carolina Central team who has something that is Delaware State's absolute weakness, and that's a strong passing game. As you can see, Walker Harris, the gentleman on your screen throwing the football, he has been very accurate all year. He throws about he gets 6-7 receivers involved per game. So and Delaware State gives up over 300 yards per game in the air, which is like in the bottom 5 or 10 in FCS. So that worries me as a Delaware State alum. Like, I am concerned, to quote Susan Collins, the esteemed senator from Maine, I am concerned about the Delaware State pass defense against Walker Harris in North Carolina Central. The run game, I'm not too worried about. I mean, yes, Chris Mosley's wonderful. AJ Rogers is good. We got 5 guys who can carry the ball. Not the hamburger chain, but we got 5 running backs. Marquise Gillis, James Jones, quarterback Hayden Bennett, Jaden Jenkins, and Deuce Weston give speed on the edge and all of that. So concern for the passing game is what bothers me, is because if Walker Harris has a great game, Delaware State's not going to be in that game very long. But if they can slow him down, DSU has a chance. That's my overall take on the matter. Let me know what you guys think. Champ D says, whoever stops that school down the road from Wyndham MEAC, I will send a donation to that football program. Stop Durham, for the love of God. Well, if it's Delaware State, let me tell you, we are in the process of building a $24 million field house. We've gotten $20 million already. So I mean, I'm not going to speak on your pockets, but whatever you can give towards our field house, that would be very much appreciated. If it's us, it'll probably be South Carolina State, though, if anybody. I still think North Carolina Central is the best team in the MEAC by a country mile. If Delaware State wins on Saturday, I will do cartwheels on this podcast, guaranteed. But I still think Central is just very experienced, very strong, and Trey Oliver, he backs up every bit of bluster that he says, man. He's one of the real McCoys around here. So I'm looking forward to that game. I'll be watching this game like this. I'm going to be scared, but I'm going to watch because I want to see if my Hornets are the real deal. And I think, I mean, even though, 4 wins in half a season compared to 2 wins combined the last 2 years is wonderful, but this team is talking MEAC championship. And the only way you're going to win the MEAC championship is if you beat North Carolina Central. That's the only way. That is the only way. So very interested to see. Champ D says Dell State's the only hope. That's a lot of hope to put on the Hornets. Let's see if that can happen. Amanda, going back to the interview with Ivan Thomas, because I asked her, what was the this emoji for? She said, lots of fluff. I feel like he wasn't answering the questions, but it could just be me. I'm a direct, straightforward person, no disrespect. I thought he was being quite upfront, to be honest with you. I mean, because it's hard to answer a question about being a coach at an HBCU, being in the PWI conference. It is. I mean, Tennessee State has tons of practice with that, but for Hampton and A&T, this is still uncharted territory, to be quite honest with you. So when I asked Trenton Boykin earlier in the season for football, he gave me a real good answer about how, we're still going to be an HBCU, and that's something that is going to draw a lot of kids to us. And I think that's pretty much what Coach Thomas said as well. He said, this is our culture, this is who we are, but we are going to play in a top-notch basketball conference. I thought he was straightforward with that answer myself, but I get it. I mean, but I'm very interested to see how the Hampton basketball team looks this year. Absolutely. If they're picked top 5 in the Coastal, that means they could do some things. So I'm very excited to see what they look like. A&T Roy, shouts out to the Aggies. He says the DSU running game can be the difference maker. Anytime you put up 600 yards, I mean, it was against the Division II. It absolutely was against the Division II. I'm not going to sit here and say that 600 yards against Southern Connecticut is more impressive than if they would run for 600 against South Carolina State or Central or Norfolk State or Howard or Morgan. But 600 yards is 600 yards on the ground. And that I think the predictability is what probably might trip Delaware State up, because I'm not saying Caden Bennett can't throw the ball. He can. It's just that they haven't had a reason to. Because every year, every game outside the UD game, the DSU offensive line has won their battles. Every single game outside of UD, they've won their battles. Yes, I'm counting Monmouth. Yes, I'm counting Sacred Heart, a game they should have won, by the way. And they have been probably the best offensive line in Black college football this year. But North Carolina State has some dogs on that front 7, bro. Absolutely has some dogs on there. So this is going to be what the late, great Gorilla Monsoon used to say on WWE pay-per-views, the irresistible force meets the immovable object. That's what we got here with with Central. A&T, oh my God. Central and Delaware State. Very much looking forward to that game. If you ask me for a prediction, I don't want to go against my alma mater, but I think this Delaware State team just needs a little more seasoning. A&T's already got the seasoning. So I'm Central. Why do I keep saying A&T? Oh my God. Delaware State needs a little more seasoning. North Carolina Central has all the seasonings already. So against my heart, I'm going to go with my head and say Central wins this one by a count of 34-26. That's my official pick. You'll be able to see more of my picks on the HBCU Sports website when I drop my weekly predictions on tomorrow, actually. So yes. All right. Next game on the slate. There's only 3 of them. So, we're the third of the way through. This is the one that could be the most intriguing. Central Delaware State is the best, but the most intriguing is Norfolk State against South Carolina State. Let me get that Norfolk right. I keep saying Norfolk. I know I want to say Norfolk. I don't have that Virginia twang. I'm from Delaware. I'm closer to Philly than I am to Virginia. So that's probably why you guys probably can't place my accent, because I don't think I have an accent. Everybody I talk to says you have an accent. I'm like, where? I sound just like a regular old Joe. But yes, anyway, Norfolk State versus South Carolina State. And this is the Spartans' homecoming too. So this game has monumental value for Mike Vick and the Spartans. And it's also the chance for Chennis Berry and South Carolina State to show that they are, pardon the pun, the top dogs still in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. I think what hurt Norfolk State a lot in the games that they lost is that they just don't know how to finish. I mean, they've had leads. They haven't really been blown out that much. There's just been times when they've just forgotten how to finish. And you could probably argue that's something that the coaches have to figure out. But at the same time, the players have to understand that they have to really put their nose to the grindstone. And if you want to win a game, you got to do everything possible to win that game. And so I'm really interested to see how Norfolk State handles this. South Carolina State, meanwhile, we know their pedigree. They won the MEAC last year easily. Well, not easily, because that Central game was pretty close. But yeah, I think, I don't know if it'll be that much of a runaway, but I do think South Carolina State wins. I'm going to go ahead and give them a 27-14 because you never know. And I'm still interested to see how this quarterback situation works out with Billy Atkins IV and Ryan Stubblefield. Will Chennis Berry eventually choose one, or will he continue to go two quarterbacks throughout the whole season? It's a question that we got to ask. It is a question we got to ask. Amanda says Vic is going to need to step on the field with some confidence. That's part of his problem. I don't think Michael Vick has ever lacked for confidence, but I do think that he understands that he has a tall task ahead of him. Because again, we're talking, let me come on side screen for this. Because we are talking about a Norfolk State team that has not won a championship on the field in any capacity since 2011. And unfortunately, that was stripped from them for an ineligible player. So if you take that away, the Norfolk State football team has not won a conference championship since they won the CIAA in 1984. So the Norfolk State football team does not have the best history. So they got some work to do. And Coach Vic knows they got some work to do. So I think people who expected lightning in a bottle this year from Norfolk State were just expecting too much. Because for one, he had to come in, kind of sort of cycle out Dawson Odom's players, if that's what he chose to do. Then he has to go get his kind of kids. That's probably what this year is going to be about. Finding out what a Michael Vick football player is. And I love using wrestling analogies right here. You know I'm a big wrestling fan. So Paul Heyman works with certain people in professional wrestling that are called Paul Heyman guys. So Michael Vick needs to go find out who a Michael Vick guy is in this landscape. What kind of football player does Michael Vick want as a coach and to represent Norfolk State? That is what this year is going to be about. Deshaun Jackson is ahead of him in that regard. We already know what type of player Coach Jack wants. He wants a kid who's smart, who's physical, but not going to do anything stupid, because I know those guys have been running because they've been cutting down on the penalties. They're probably like, yo, we tired of gas. We tired of steps, man. Let's just stop doing stupid stuff on the field. and that's why Delaware State's been successful this year. And that's probably something Mike Vick is going to have to do, is just figure out what a Michael Vick football player looks like. And that's probably going to be the key. Auntie Roy says, I think Chennis is going to play his QBs as yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, because it's not like both of them aren't good. I'm just saying, I just keep going back to what the late great John Madden used to say. If you have two quarterbacks, you have none. I always go back to that because I always found that to be an interesting quote. And it sounds like, and it kind of sounds, and I agree with him, because you need a dude who is going to be the guy that you can put him in a huddle with 10 other dudes and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to win this one. We're going to run this play. We're going to run that play. And if something breaks down, I got it. Don't worry. So I still feel like you need a defined QB1 at any level. Pop Warner, is Pop Warner even still a thing? Pop Warner, high school, college, pro. You still need a one at that position to be a great football team. But doesn't matter that much because South Carolina State is 4-3, and until somebody beats them, they are the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference champions until further notice. Lionel Williams says he will play them according to strategy, and Ed before the game is transparent. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. And I don't know if this game is where a QB controversy brews, because I do think South Carolina State does win it, but I don't know how. I'm just very interested to see how this plays out down the line, because there's going to be a point where you got to figure out who is your best guy, because you got Central in 3.5 weeks, excuse me. Sorry. You got, that's basically, I mean, if Central beats Delaware State, that is the MEAC championship game. That is the MEAC championship game. And it's going to be played in Durham at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Thanks, ESPN, for nothing. But yeah, that if Central gets by Delaware State, then that is the MEAC championship game. South Carolina State, North Carolina Central on November 14th. So I think by that point, Coach Barry is going to have a good grasp on who is the guy that's going to lead that team into Durham and come out of there with the championship for another year, if possible. And T. Roy says nothing wrong with the QB1, but a good second option can be, oh yeah. Delaware State learned that the hard way. they learned through accident that they could count on Jaden Soray as the backup when Caden Bennett got ejected at Sacred Heart for giving out high fives to people. I'm still mad about that. I still want those officials investigated. I still want them banned. I still want those officials to answer the call. Why are you kicking a kid out of the game for high five and not giving the ball to a referee who is yelling behind him because Caden Bennett does not have eyes in the back of his head? I'm still salty about that. Very. I digress. But yes. All right, on to our last game of the MEAC schedule. Wow. And it may not be the most intriguing on the schedule, but it still has a lot of importance. We got Howard versus Morgan State, and it's Howard's homecoming. We all love Howard homecoming around here. And what's gonna trip me out, what's gonna trip everybody out about this game is that neither one of these teams can score the football. Neither one of them. Don't go to Green Stadium. Don't go to the corner of Georgia and Florida Avenue expecting a shootout. You're going to be getting a pitcher's duel. You're going to be getting a pitcher's duel. By the way, who y'all got in the World Series? I'm a Phillies fan. I hate both of these teams. I hate Joe Carter. I still hate Joe Carter. 12-year-old Chris cried like a baby when he took Mitch Williams deep that night. But I hate the Dodgers too. So, I mean, the Dodgers just, they done bought everybody. I'm tired of the Dodgers buying everybody. So I'm kind of rooting for the Blue Jays. I'm kind of hoping they both tie. I know this is not possible, but anyway, I digress. But yeah, you can expect a pitcher's duel between Howard and Morgan on Saturday. And I do think the loser of that game may have some things to worry about. We avoid hot seat conversation with the MEAC because you really can't expect a lot from MEAC football teams because there's only 6 of them. But I do think the loser may have something to worry about, come Saturday evening. Thank you, Amanda. See, we got 1. We need 4 more. Can we get 4 more super chats before the end of this show? We need 4 more. I mean, it can be $1. It can be $2. It can be $5. It can be $50,000. Whatever you want to do. It does not matter to me. Just drop a super chat. I don't care how just as long as it's like worth $1. I mean, it's got to be $1. It can't be like 50 cents. Shouts out to Jay-Z for one of my favorite rap lines. I'm all about $1. What the is 50 cents? You may remember that from Some Like It Hot from volume 3. Dave Champ D says he's got the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers so very much. Greetings, Silas. Welcome aboard. Yeah, I hate the Dodgers with everything in me. We know you do, Ken Rashad. We know you do. And I told you they were going to beat the Phillies. He was like, oh, come on, Chris, have more faith in that. Ken Rashad was gaslighting me, people. Let me tell you, Ken Rashad was gaslighting me because when the Dodgers swept the Reds in the wild card round, I said, The Phillies are going to find a way to blow this because they've done it each of the last 2 years prior to this. And Ken says, "Oh, Chris, you should have more faith in your Phillies." Like he's gaslighting me. Like you don't know he's like Magic Johnson and them ain't built a super team. Be for real, Ken. Be for real. And what did the Phillies do? They lost both games at home. The bats finally woke up in game 3. And in game 4, you have a pitcher on the mound who's scared of his own shadow, who doesn't know that the play is to first base. First base. First base. Not home plate. And the Phillies lost the series. I hate the Dodgers. I hate Dodger dogs. I hate Chavez Ravine. I'm not going to say I hate Vin Scully, God rest his soul, because he was the best baseball announcer of all time. I hate Kirk Gibson's limp. I hate Earl Hershiser's sleepy eyes. I hate Mookie Betts for being talented and a popular player. I hate Shohei Ohtani for being the best baseball player of all time. Yes, I'm saying it now. I hate everything about the Dodgers. I hate everything about the Dodgers. But Joe Carter broke my heart as a 12-year-old in 1993. So honestly, I don't give a damn who wins. But if you had to make me pick, go Jays. Go Blue Jays. Silas Edward McMorris says, "I'm an Astros fan, so you know I don't root for the Dodgers." Oh, I don't like the Astros either. I ain't forgot the 2022 World Series. You cheating blinkety blinks. Oh yeah. I left Jackie out because Jackie, God rest his soul, Jackie was Jackie. He just happened to be a Dodger. And I guess if there's anything that gives me a reason to not hate the Dodgers, is because they were the ones that broke the modern color barrier. They let Jack Roosevelt Robinson come in and be Jack Roosevelt Robinson. So I'm not going to take that away from the Dodgers, but for the rest Jackie's been gone 53 years. And the color barrier was broken 78 years ago. So in 2025, I hate the Dodgers. I'm not even. It's on a level with the San Francisco Giants, who hate the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers. So go Blue Jays. That's all I got. We didn't talk about this enough, to be quite honest with you. I think, and you know what's funny about this? This is Howard's first game on campus at Green Stadium, because they were a traveling road show. They were at the Orange Blossom. They played Temple at Lincoln Financial Field. The Orange Blossom was at Hard Rock Stadium. They played the HBCU NY Classic at I keep wanting to call it Giant Stadium. I'm old. I keep saying Giant Stadium, but I know it's MetLife Field. I'm sorry, it's MetLife Field. Then they who else did they play? Then they had Audi Field. They were in town, but they weren't on their campus. Then they still had to go play so I had to go play Sacred Heart, so I had to go play Tennessee State, so I had to go play Richmond. I don't know how. Larry, I think if the AD had a part in it, I'm sure Larry Scott wanted that schedule as well, because you want to test your kids before MEAC play. And I think that's something that most of the schools in the MEAC were able to do. I think Howard had a good non-conference schedule. South Carolina State definitely had one. Delaware State was decent. The only non-conference schedule I take exception with is Morgan State's, because they played 2 D2s and VUL. You can't. I can't forgive that schedule, to be completely honest with you. I have the utmost respect for Damon Wilson and that entire Morgan State program, but you have to schedule better than that. The Circle City is what it is. The Circle City matchup is set. That might be the last Circle City we get, because it was like 3,000 people there in Lucas Oil Stadium. And when you can't draw flies for an HBCU football game in Indianapolis, might be time to fold the tent. Might be time. It might be that time for the Circle City, at least for now. Honestly, I think classics are hurting now because people just don't have the money to travel. And if you're black in this country, is it really safe to travel now? We don't talk about that. And the cost of everything has gone up. I mean, God, I'm so mad that a pound of ground turkey now is $8. And I like to make turkey sausage in the morning. And I gotta ration out my turkey sausage because it's $8 for a pound now. Like, it's absolutely bananas. But yeah, the cost of everything is going up. And being black in most HBCUs for the most part are in red states. For the most part. So it's like if you're black, for HBCUs, it's safe to travel and can you afford to travel? So that's why classics are suffering by and large. Ones that won't suffer are like the true rivalry games, like the Magic City. I think the Magic City is going to do numbers once again. The Southern Heritage, it did okay, but without Jackson and Tennessee State, it's just another game. So, we really need to start thinking about reimagining class. The State Fair Classic was decent. Well, unless you're a Grambling alum. Sorry, Ken. But yeah, we really need to start thinking about how we're going to reimagine these classic games and these special games, because right now it's just not tenable for everything that's going on in this country. It's just not tenable for our schools to just keep throwing classics at our football teams and expecting them to succeed when there's like 15 people in the stands. Just something we got to think about. Silas, if you missed that, I picked against Delaware State. I want them to win. I'm praying they win. North Carolina Central just got too much seasoning. They got all the seasoning and all the sauce. Word to Gucci Mane. So I picked North Carolina Central 34-26. Let me go back because I know Amanda had another score. That was her prediction. She said 42-36. I could see that because Delaware State, these are two of the top. Delaware State and Central are two of the top 15, not the top 100, not the top 50, the top 15 offenses in FCS football, both of them. So if you're expecting, like I said, you'll get a pitcher's duel in DC, but you're definitely going to get a track meet in Durham, North Carolina. Absolutely. Absolutely going to get a track meet in Durham this year. Whether that track meet favors Delaware State remains to be seen. Lionel says we need to stay true to our identity so people will support the sport. Oh, I'm not saying we need to go away from playing each other. I'm just saying that the classic format is just harder to put together now because the way the prices have gone up on everything, the way racism and fascism have gone up on everything. It's just hard. It's always been hard being black in this country. There's no denying that. I think what's hard about it, for us now, is that so many of these folks that wore these "We Are Not Our Ancestor" t-shirts, they need to go back and figure out what the ancestors did. When you think about how Bayard Rustin, who was able to organize the March on Washington without the benefit of GPS, without the benefit of social media, without the benefit of the internet, and all of that, we need to figure out a way to get back. We need to get back to what our ancestors were doing, to be quite honest with you. And this is coming from a dude who was nearly 20 years away from being born when the March on Washington happened. But I know my history. My mother wouldn't allow me not to know my history. So, when you talk about how hard it is being black today, our ancestors had it worse, but they made it out and made it greater for us. So we need to go back. We need to look through the history books. We need to do some study. We need to do some homework, figure out how Dr. King was able to make the March on Washington so successful, the Montgomery bus boycott, all of that. We need to go back. Those are the things we need to go back to. And now that we have the resources that our ancestors didn't have, it should be easier to replicate that process. Just my opinion. I think people took that "We Are Not Our Ancestors" junk and ran with it because it sounded hip. It sounded cool. It sounded like it put the fear of God on white people. But white people don't have the fear of God because white people don't worship the God they claim to anyway. Their God is this. That's who their God is. That's why they don't care that dude has absolutely destroyed the White House to build a damn ballroom. Do you know how this country would have set itself on fire if Barack Obama tried to build a basketball court on the grounds of the White House? They got mad at the brother for wearing a tan suit. But this slob of an individual can tear down a whole wing to build a ballroom. And that should let you know, guys, he's not leaving. He's not going anywhere on his own. He will need to be forced out. So if you guys think that there's a actual 2028 election, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but doesn't look like they're going to be one. Just saying. Everybody talking about democracy is in danger. Democracy's done. And that's why we as Black people really need to figure out what it is we are going to do in this new, whatever you want to call this thing. Period. And that's why HBCUs still matter. And that's why we as Black people really need to support our institutions and support ourselves, because we ain't getting no help from nobody. Wow. Woo. And I ain't got no water to drink either. My throat just got a frog in it. My throat got Kermit. It's not easy being green. Sorry, guys. I do not, Dre. I do not. This is the same dude who said you don't have to worry about voting anymore. Fake news. Fake news. You won't have to worry about. If I win, you won't have to worry about voting anymore. He said it. He said it. So I do not think there is going to be a 2028 general election. They're already trying to take away the 2026 primaries from everybody, for local elections, state and city. So y'all better be careful. Never mind. I'm not even going to address that. If you think that idiot was joking, man, I there's nothing I can tell you. Ain't nothing I can tell you. It absolutely was, Sean. And we know who's responsible for it, which is why it galls me to see Black people driving Teslas. Because every time somebody buys a Tesla, that musty SOB gains another measure of power. Absolutely. So Ralph Smith says the Florida Classic will work. Yeah, because that's a rivalry game, obviously. But Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M still have a lot to play for this year. The jobs of both of their head coaches. Now, actually, I'll take that back. Ray Woody's safe because Bethune-Cookman has looked a lot better. Bethune-Cookman is looking a lot better under Ray Woody. Now, Florida A&M, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I mean, they had to sweat out a couple of wins this week. I mean, they had to sweat it out against Alcorn and Albany. And Albany's a Division II. So I'm telling you now, if Albany State wins the SIAC and goes far in the Division II tournament, don't think for a second that Florida A&M is not going to reach out to Quinn Gray. Absolutely. If Albany State wins the SIAC and wins at least one or two games in the Division II tournament, Quinn Gray is going to get that call from his alma mater. Easily. As soon as that game is over, he is going to, whoever the AD is at the time, they're going to pick up that phone. Hey, Quinn, congratulations for a great run at Albany, but we got this big contract for you. We got this. You can run back the Gulf Coast offense, the Rack Boys. You can do whatever you want to do with this football program. What do you say? Absolutely, that is going to happen. If Albany State does what they're supposed to do and should do in Division II. So, yeah, that Florida Classic, man, it's going to have some meaning. It's absolutely going to have some meaning. Ken Rashad says, what about the Las Vegas Classic? I'm very interested to see how this works. Because you've got two of the mainstays of Black college football going to the entertainment capital of the world. You've got Grambling State. You've got the late Buck Buchanan, Eddie Robinson, Doug Williams, Shaq Harris, Charlie Joyner. You got those guys on that side. Over here at Jackson State, you got the late great Sweetness, Walter Payton, Dr. Doom, Robert Brazil, Jackie Slater, Lem Barney. I sound like a dude that's on these conference calls, but I have to make my point. And I'm not even going to say it because, again, Ken Rashad got me in trouble on the MEAC conference call this week with his shenanigans. Ken always be getting me in trouble, y'all. I don't know how I get in trouble from Ken Rashad, dog, but it happens. It happens. Mr. Jackson says Magic City. Oh, yeah. Magic City is going to do Mondo numbers. I want to make it to the Magic City at one point in my life because I hear Alabama got some lovelies down there. And I'm trying to, check them out. I'll leave it at that. WSSU Ram Nation says it's not about the football. It's about the experience. That's why the SWAC mostly reigns supreme. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. SWAC has this whole culture thing figured out. It absolutely does. When you go to Jackson, at the Mississippi Veterans Memorial Coliseum, when you go to the Florida Classic, when you go to Magic City Classic, when you go to the Bayou, the State Fair, they got this thing all figured out. It's black people having a damn good time, and hopefully you get to watch some good football while you're at it. Can't beat that. Absolutely cannot beat that. But even if the football sucks, you're still going to have fun amongst your people. But most of the time, the football is going to be pretty decent. So that's why the SWAC is the best conference right now as far as culture for HBCU athletics. Because when you look at where all the schools are located, you've got Texas, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, Arkansas. Those are places in the South where black people have made a way out of no way. It's just in the tradition. It's in the bloodline. And yes, this is a MEAC, and this is a MEAC a podcast, and I'm a MEAC alum. And yeah, this hurt. This hurt to watch the homecoming game and watch people still filing in the third quarter. And Delaware State was beating down the block on Southern Connecticut State. And people didn't show up. It was so weird. And I covered the first two home games in person. I didn't go to homecoming because I had car trouble. But the first two home games, it was Bowie State, it was Albany State. Well, not Albany State, U of Albany. Well, nobody was coming to see U of Albany anyway, because who was coming to watch a PWI from upstate New York? I don't even think people from upstate New York was coming down to watch a PWI from upstate New York play HBCUs. But the Bowie State game, that was the one that disappointed me. I expected to see way more people in the stands for Bowie State than I did. And the homecoming game was Southern Connecticut State. Nobody knew who Southern Connecticut State was. So it was like, yeah, people just didn't show up, unfortunately. And it was frustrating. But hopefully they do. Because I'm telling you now, if this Delaware State team beats North Carolina Central, their schedule is very favorable going down the stretch. They have Morgan State next weekend. They got Norfolk State. They got the Norfolk State game at Lincoln Financial Field. Hopefully I get my press credential approved for that. Then they have Morgan State. Then they have Howard at home and South Carolina State to close out the season. They could be 4-0 going into the South Carolina State game. They'll be 3. I think they'll be 3-1 in MEAC going into South Carolina State game. So if somehow South Carolina State beats North Carolina Central, then it's NCCU, and then it's South Carolina State and Delaware State on the last day of the season for the MEAC championship. That could happen. So, but yeah, hopefully more people need to show up and show out for this Delaware State football team, because this is a new regime. This is a new era. It's the new Jack era, as he likes to call it. And right now, they're a really good football team. Sean Wiggins says, if Central hasn't shored up that defense, this will be a shootout. They look good against Florida A&M, I'm going to tell you. They looked really good against Florida A&M, but then again, Florida A&M really wasn't that good. So, you can take that with a grain of salt. I would love for that to happen. I would. but I just feel like North Carolina Central has too much experience right now. That is a very talented football team down there in Durham. And I know Champ D doesn't approve because he's an Aggie. And I know a lot of other people are waiting for North Carolina Central to lose. I don't know if they will. If anybody's gonna do it, Delaware State's probably gonna have to be the team to do it. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Shouts out to Adam Spencer. If you go back and listen, we had your men's basketball coach on the program earlier. He had some really good stuff to say. I think you'll like that interview. Dre says we got a major problem in deep defensive back on part of our defense. And the Delaware State pass defense is terrifying, and not in a good way. It's very, very. It's like the Matador. Ole! And Walker Harris can slang that thing. And he's got good receivers. He's got receivers out of the backfield too. So if DSU ain't figured out this pass defense by like Saturday, it's going to be a long day in Durham. It's their homecoming too. Could be big yikes hours. Or it could be it could be the biggest win Delaware State's had in almost 20 years. That's what we're dealing with here. Hampton is playing at Monmouth at their homecoming. A&T is playing Campbell this week. Hampton, I was absolutely stunned that Villanova did that to them. I thought Villanova was done. Villanova apparently is not done. Or maybe Hampton's just that bad on the football field. Either way, I saw that 49-0 halftime score. I said, excuse me? Wait a minute now. It's like, yeesh. That Campbell game, I feel like that's one that A&T can get because Campbell's never impressed me. Campbell has always felt like a kind of football team to me. So I feel like this is one that A&T could get. Not saying they will, but I feel like it's one they could get. If Sean Gibbs can get this one, then everybody can sort of breathe easier and be like, all right. Meanwhile, I already thought he was the right guy for the job. He was the right guy for the Florida A&M job too, but I digress. But yeah, I think that game. I think Campbell is a game that A&T can get for sure. Dre says we'll win if we turn the game into a shootout. Central won't be able to keep up with that kind of game. I don't know. They've averaged 52 points a game each of the last 4 games. They put 45 on Florida A&M. They put 62 on A&T. Sorry, Champ and Troy. They scored 50 against East Texas. So I mean, this Central offense, they ain't no joke either. It's gonna be a fun one though. I'm definitely gonna get my 12-3-30 out of the way. Oh, if you guys are looking for a way to manage your weight, I highly recommend the 12-3-30. What is that? You get on a treadmill, you increase the incline to 12%, you walk 3 miles an hour for 30 minutes. It's a challenge. The first 2 or 3 days of it, I felt like death. Now, feels a little easier. And this shirt that I wasn't able to wear before, shouts out to Snoopy, has a little more space in it. So, yeah, if you guys are looking for a way to kind of drop some weight in a safe way, 12-3-30. Guaranteed. Get on a treadmill, put that incline to 12%, set your speed to 3 miles an hour, 30 minutes, play yourself a podcast or get yourself a good musical playlist. It'll kill you at first. It will hurt at first. It will be a nightmare. You will be holding on to that treadmill for dear life. After about 2 weeks, it starts to get a little bit easier. At least that's what I found. But I digress. But yeah, I'm going to get my 12-3-30 out of the way early on Saturday. And then be right back here to watch A&T and watch Central. I keep saying A&T. They're going to kill me. Central and Delaware State. And all the MEAC action this week. And that's going to do it for this edition of the MEAC More. We made it to an hour. I was surprised we made it to an hour because I didn't really think we was going to get that. But that's why, you guys coming into the chat and talking is so very important because, it gives me something to talk about outside of the football and the stuff we already talked about. But we got a good program here. And I definitely thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate y'all as always. Before we sign off, don't forget you can follow us on all manners of social media. We are on TikTok. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Facebook. We're on the Musty app. That's Twitter. At HBCU Sports. Just look for us there. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Become a level 1 or a level 2 member. And be sure to do that because for $4.99 a month, you can get all the Black college sports that is fit to print and broadcast as we like to give it to you. And if you still want to donate, there's the Cash App. Just type in $ HBCU Sports. Go to the Zelle app, donate at hbcusports.com. Be sure to type in your donation there or go to the website, hbcusports.com/donate. You know what's funny? Amanda? Trey Oliver does not remember me, but my first year as a student reporter at Delaware State, he was the defensive backs coach. He does not remember me because every time I see Coach Oliver in these MEAC coaches calls, he does not remember my face for the life of me. Well, then again, I had to remember I was about 150 pounds heavier in college, so he probably doesn't remember me. But yeah, I used to be around Delaware State football team all the time when Trey Oliver was the defensive backs coach. But yeah, I don't want to piss off Coach Oliver. Believe me, that is not my ministry. So, go Blue Jays. That's all I got to say. Go Blue Jays, damn it. Before we do leave, I do have some things that I would like to promote on my own behalf. This is my music podcast, On the Groove Line. I talk about old school R&B, hip hop, jazz, disco, black music, basically. So if you wonderful people would like to subscribe to my YouTube channel there, you can do that. That costs you absolutely nothing. And you can see the link up on your screen here, youtube.com/@onthegrooveline. I have some really fun conversations over there about music. I've got some music guests coming up. I'm working on a couple of name brand guys from the 80s. So I'm leaving it at that. And hopefully you OGs will know who I'm talking about. But yeah, I got some guests coming, so stay tuned. And I also have a dating and after hours podcast on my Patreon. It's called The Overnight Scenario. Over there, let me get the link ready for that. Thought I had a link ready, but I don't. So I got a CMP here. All right. So The Overnight Scenario is my adult podcast where I talk about my adventures or misadventures in dating and romance and all of that other stuff. If you would like to know what it's like to be a single black man, sports writer, trying to figure out where the heck he is going to find some companionship and other things, you can subscribe to my Patreon for $1 a month and check out The Overnight Scenario. And granted, this is adult conversation. This is stuff you can't play around the kids, basically. This podcast, you can play around the kids. On the Groove Line, you can play around the kids. Overnight Scenario, not so much. If you are interested in those adventures, you can feel free to sign up for my Patreon for $1 a month. I also add my writing projects and things over there. So if you want to support a content creator, you're more than welcome to do so. Okay, now we're done. We're done here. All right, so thank you guys for watching the MEAC and More. Don't forget tomorrow. One more thing, I promise, and then we're done. The Better Than Less Than podcast with Jared Hoffman. It goes live tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. on his channel. Jared is going to give you all the 411 on the SIAC, the CIAA, and the NAIA ASAP. Guaranteed. So thank you guys for watching. Greatly appreciate y'all as always. Until the next time we talk, y'all enjoy the football this weekend. Y'all take care of yourselves and each other. We gone.